If the past several years have taught me anything, it's that if you go off-roading in the woods with your buddies, you're gonna need recovery gear, guaranteed. You're gonna get stuck in the snow, you will get stuck in the mud, you will have to remove a downed tree that blocks your path, you're gonna get a flat tire, and you're probably gonna be digging yourself out of a surprise trench. But recovery gear can be very expensive. So you might think to yourself, I'll just go without, or maybe just bring a tow strap or a chain or something. Please don't do that, because that is how a good time can turn deadly. To help you guys out and to prove that you don't need to spend a fortune, I gave myself a budget of $300 to assemble a complete recovery gear kit for a buddy of mine who's just starting to get into off-roading. Let's jump back to gathering all the equipment, which is either from Harbor Freight or Amazon, both who did not sponsor this video in any way. I paid full price for all of this stuff. I'll go over each piece, its intended use case, why I chose it, and I'm also going to cover some important requirements for recovery gear regardless of what brand you choose. And I'll be comparing this kit to recovery gear that I've been carrying for many years, some on the affordable side and some premium USA made stuff. I'm Jason and you're watching Jason Explains Things.
All right, to start our mission for the affordable quality recovery gear kit for my buddy, we are here at Harbor Freight. Most of the things on my list are here, hopefully in stock, and they might even be on sale today with some coupons. So let's get in there before they're all gone. So my buddy has an older 3rd gen Tacoma and they have no rated recovery point in the back. So this is probably the cheapest good option you can find. And it even comes with a decent D-ring, so we don't need to buy too many of those. Okay, we're here in the back wall by the winches. Looks like everything I came here to get is here. Good timing. Big. Yeah, these look better. They actually have a leather palm, and they're $3 cheaper. So we're gonna get these.
The final price, everything from Harbor Freight with the coupon applied, was $196.59, plus the 2 things from Amazon. Those were $70.63 for a final cost $267.22, and that is including our crazy Washington State sales tax. Let's go over each item in the kit, its intended use case, important features that you want in each piece, and also as we go, I'll compare to expensive and less expensive items that I've had for many years. Now, a note about this kit. This is a beginner kit, mostly for vehicle-to-vehicle recoveries where a buddy might pull you out or you pull a buddy out. This is not everything that you could ever need for like in a complicated winch recovery. But again, this is intended for beginners, and then you can add more gear as you need it. Let's first start with the big red guy here. The Kinetic recovery strap. Kinetic recovery straps are a big, robust strap that's designed to stretch under load when one vehicle is pulling another one out. Think of this as a giant rubber band. It's made of 100% nylon, and it can stretch up to 20% of its length. And that stretching motion allows you to pull a friend out in a safer and less jarring manner. This is Harbor Freight's 3-inch by 30-foot long Kinetic recovery strap. This is appropriate for probably a mid-size truck, Jeep, or full-size truck. They do have one that's smaller than this, that's 2 inches by 20 feet, and that would probably be good up to a Tacoma, but not much beyond that. There are 2 important safety ratings that you want to know on Kinetic recovery straps and several other things I'm going to talk about, and that is working load limit and minimum braking strength. Working load limit is what the piece of gear is rated to be used at or below under normal use. And this particular one is rated up to 10,000 pounds for the working load limit. The minimum braking strength is what the piece of equipment has been tested at by the manufacturer to withstand before it fails. And for this one, that's 30,000 pounds. Sometimes that's also called just braking strength. This one, unfortunately, again, because it's more of a bargain piece of gear, you have your working load limit, just called rated capacity, but it doesn't have the minimum braking strength listed. And also, this is a pretty light duty label, so this might come off under normal use. Now, I poo-pooed the label a little bit, but actually for the money, this is a pretty nice recovery strap. First off, the eyelets on each side are nicely reinforced. I think that's a plus. Also, we have 2 of these movable abrasion guards. So if you're doing a recovery and you have to make contact with a rock or the ground or something, the fact that you have two of these to move around is nice. For about the same money on Amazon, you can get this guy. I've had this one for about 5 years, and it's from Rhino USA. Oop, upside down. Rhino USA, also 3 inches by 30 feet, also made out of nylon, also designed to stretch 20%, and it has virtually the same working load limit minimum braking strength. I just saw it. Some of the stitching is starting to come off right here. But overall, it hasn't been used that many times, especially recently, because now I just have this in the back of my truck, mostly to help people out should I see somebody in the ditch or see someone stuck in the snow while just driving around. This is not something I use for recoveries anymore. But I think with normal use, the Badlands is gonna get easier to use over time, and I think it would last longer than this one. On the other end of the spectrum, we have Kinetic recovery ropes. Also 30 foot long, also designed for around the same amount of working load limit and minimum braking strength, although this one from AV is rated for, I think, just a little bit less, but frankly, AV being a US company with this rope made in Canada, I believe, I think they have much more stringent testing protocols, so I would imagine I would trust I would probably trust this Kinetic recovery rope more than the testing of the other brands I've shown. But again, the thing about Kinetic recovery ropes, this one rope costs almost the same amount as the entire kit that we've assembled. So you get what you pay for, right? Now, the straps are designed to stretch 20%. This one stretches up to 30%. So you're just gonna have smoother recoveries, especially I would say like in the snow. I have been pulled out by a rope just like this one many, many times, and it's fantastic. It's kind of like magic. Now, full transparency about this rope from AAV along with some of the other AAV gear, I actually received it in exchange for doing a video about the gear back in 2022 that I'll link down below. It's a great video. I really love I really love that one. And then actually after that, I worked for AAV as an employee for a year and a half. But I've actually since left. I still love AAV, I still love their products, but I don't have any official affiliation with them anymore.
Hey everybody, this is Jason later that same day, and I forgot to do the obligatory YouTube thing where I ask you to, if you like this video, you should subscribe and leave a comment and give it a thumbs up, because hey, I do a lot of videos about venturing and DIY videos, maintenance videos, all sorts of stuff that I'm sure you would enjoy. Why don't you subscribe so you don't miss it? And if you want to support what I do above and beyond, you can join the channel membership like these fine people on the screen right now. You get awesome perks like in-video shoutouts, behind-the-scenes posts, and sometimes, if I'm able to, I post videos early for members too. So hey, thanks. I'm gonna keep going. Bye.
Let's move on to anchor shackles and soft shackles. Both these types of shackles are used to connect either like a recovery strap, a winch line, to recovery points on your vehicle, a hitch-mounted recovery point, or sometimes, especially with soft shackles, they can be used to attach two ropes to each other should you need extra length or to create a bridle, that kind of thing. In my experience, a basic kit needs 2 of each. The more the merrier, frankly, because they come in very handy. Specifically talking about these anchor shackles, these are 3/4 thick forged steel, which is what you want. This has a working load limit of 9,500 pounds, which is appropriate, I would say, for a mid-sized truck, and maybe up to a full-size truck, but anything beyond that, you might want to consider getting the 7/8 forged steel anchor shackle. Very similar to the Harbor Freight anchor shackle is AAV's anchor shackle. I think both are made overseas at this point. The AAV one though has a special coating called armor galv, which is essentially the same as like a galvanized bolt or something like that. And then the pin has a very, I think a zinc coating, which is similar to like a grade 8 bolt. So this one has a little bit of bling to it, but also the cool thing about AAV's anchor shackles is you could probably leave this out in the rain for an extended period of time and it would look exactly the same. And I've seen some of these that have been used for many years and they just kind of get smoother. So that is kind of the nice feature about these, but the strength and the working load limits, all that kind of thing, essentially the same. Used in a similar way to anchor shackles, but maybe a little bit more versatile, are soft shackles. These are made of synthetic fiber, essentially the exact same stuff as a synthetic winch line. This does not stretch at all, and it's extremely strong. This is a 7/16, the load rating of 9,500 pounds, so the exact same as the steel anchor shackle, and then a braking strength of 47,500 pounds, so very, very strong. Now these are used to connect, you know, like again, like a recovery strap or a winch line to a recovery point that is beveled, so that it doesn't like cut the fiber. Also, if you come across a vehicle with no recovery points, like say a two-wheel drive Jeep Compass that blocks your path, you can use one of these to go around, like I would say like a lower control arm or an axle, that kind of thing, and then you can recover the two-wheel drive Jeep Compass. It happens. I'm actually very impressed with the Badlands soft shackle. It has a very nice label. Comparing that to another on the affordable side is this one from Rhino USA that I've had for many years, for 5+ years, and it's been used a lot. It's kind of been faded in the sun a little bit, starting to fray a little bit, but there are no cuts, so it's still a nice, safe piece of equipment to use. Although there are no labels about its working load limit or braking strength at all on that, which is kind of lame. On the premium side, you have this one from AV. This one's actually a little bit smaller. This is 3/8 instead of 7/16. It actually has a lower working load limit and minimum braking strength, close, but a little bit lower. The nice thing about this though is that it feels premium. It's very nice, easy to use, very strong, but also just easy to manipulate, you know, attach two ropes together like that. It's also made of a premium synthetic fiber in Canada called Dyneema. So this one, if you left this one out in the sun, it would fade a lot slower than this one, which is already faded. But if we're going apples to apples in terms of cost, I think that this one is a lot more robust than this one, and I'm impressed with the labeling, so I would choose this one over the Rhino USA. If your vehicle does not have frame-mounted recovery points in the rear, either in like an aftermarket bumper or the ARB recovery points in like a new Tacoma, you are going to need a hitch-mounted recovery point like this one. This one is from Harbor Freight for $25. It's pretty crude. It's just a block of steel. One negative about it is that it doesn't have any beveling at all, so you can't use a soft shackle with this, but with an anchor shackle like the one that was included with it, it works fantastic, and it's an incredibly good value for $25, right? I mean, this gets the job done. The next one, I'd be a little sad if it got stolen. This is the hitch slider from 4122. This is made in the USA. It's been CNC machined out of a solid piece of billet aluminum. Now, that one, 9,500 pounds working load limit. This one, 15,000 pounds. As you can see, the recovery point is larger, and also it's beveled. So you can use soft shackles in this or anchor shackles. It's up to you. And it's also, as you can see, a slider, right? So, you know, for pickup trucks like my Tacoma, where it's pretty common to hit the hitch on things, this way you kind of just glide over rocks rather than dragging your hitch and maybe getting stuck in the process. So that is $25. This one, $170, $180. So that's why I locked this one up. Because I would be pretty sad to lose it. Let's rapid fire through the remainder of the items. Obviously gloves, very handy. But actually, you know, like these Hardy ones from Harbor Freight look nicer. They kind of look nicer than the Badlands, like winching gloves. Moving on from there, we have a tire deflator. This one's from Jayco. Came with a nice pouch, a couple extra cores, and a core removal tool. This one, the build quality is really nice. I actually used it to air down my tires on the way up here, and I was a little surprised about something with this one. So I'm going to air down to 15 PSI, and we'll check on the gauge to see if that's accurate. Okay. All right, 15 on the gauge. Oh, it says 12? So this one ended up being about 2 PSI off from what my tire pressure monitoring system says. So that's good to know. They're usually never exactly the same, but I would have liked to see it be a little bit closer than that. If you want to spend about $20 more, the one from ARB or the one from AV are both really nice. I think they're all probably made in the same place overseas, but the ARB one has been nice and accurate for me. Last thing, and this is very important, is a shovel. Either you want to carry a full-size shovel or, you know, just if you have to have something just to throw in a bag. It's a pretty close knockoff of a military, you know, folding shovel trenching tool. I like this one, although it is not made in the USA, and it is a little bit different. It just feels a little bit lighter duty, although it does have all metal parts like the one that Harbor Freight had, which is essentially like a cheaper version of this one being like $35 and the one being at Harbor Freight being, I think, $13. That one has a plastic locking ring, and you do not want to buy one of those because if that breaks, this shovel is essentially useless. Now, comparing that one though, I want to show you a genuine one that I've had for 5 years. This one, as you can see, has been quite used. It's just, I would say, it's just a little bit better, everything about it. As I am filming this video, this shovel, the genuine USA one on Amazon, is actually, I think, like $5 less than this one. So you just kind of have to shop around. I'll link to both, but if you can, get the genuine made in USA version over this one. But this one is a pretty darn good knockoff. And lastly, the bag. There's nothing special about this bag. It was just at Harbor Freight and it was about the right size and it looks okay. If you have a spare duffel bag laying around, or if you just have a spot in your vehicle, like a drawer that you can just put all your recovery gear in, use that or buy this bag. Do what you want. Well, that's the kit. I'm very curious to know if you agree with my choices. Again, this is a beginner kit. Some stuff that you're probably going to want to add right off the bat: a portable air compressor so you can air up your tires, a first aid kit. You need to bring a first aid kit. I used mine like 6 months ago when I was catching a drone out of the sky and the propeller sliced my hand, and my wife, who's a nurse practitioner, fixed me up, and that was quite nice of her. I was glad she was there. Also, off-road navigation. You know, if you're not in cell reception, you can't use Google Maps, or Google Maps doesn't cover like the middle of the woods, consider getting Onyx Off-Road. I personally am an ambassador for Onyx Off-Road. I prefer them over Gaia and other services, and I have a 20% off discount code for them down in the description. Now, I can feel a potential for some anger from two different points of view. Either the like, oh, look at all that overseas stuff that you're trying to sell us that takes away American jobs, or, oh, hey, look at that snooty USA made stuff and how overly expensive it is and how fancy pants and elitist that is. I understand both those perspectives. Here is my advice, just kind of as a normal middle of the road person. There is a lot of sketchy fly-by-night recovery gear out there that you're gonna want to stay clear of. Only buy equipment that, at least in the packaging or in the description, gives you minimum braking strength, working load limit. If it doesn't say those things, that means it's not tested and you shouldn't buy it and you shouldn't trust it. Also, think about the company that you're buying stuff from. If it's just from some, you know, no-name, weird, like hodgepodge of letters and numbers off of TikTok, I wouldn't trust that as much as I would trust like Harbor Freight, right? I mean, at least Harbor Freight is a established company. They want to have a good reputation. If they put out a product that's terrible, much like their jack stands from like 15 years ago, like they lose money. So they want people to trust their stuff, so they actually put effort into it. That's my opinion. That's why I would go with Harbor Freight over, you know, something else. Insert weird name here. Here's my advice in a nutshell. Budget recovery equipment is better than no equipment at all. So start with a kit like this one and then upgrade or add pieces of equipment as you go. If quality and stuff made in America, made in North America is important to you, I totally get that and respect that and agree, frankly. I mean, the AEV kit that I've carried for going on 4 years and added stuff to, all of it is still in great working order, even though it has been used on multiple video shoots and multiple backcountry discovery routes going Washington and Oregon and parts of Idaho. I love having gear that I can depend on. And recovery gear is much like many other things. You get what you pay for. The premium stuff will last longer, is better, but maybe the bang for your buck value proposition isn't quite there just because it has such a high bar to cross just to get it. So it's up to you. The choice is yours. Do what feels right to you. Do what's within your budget. Just don't go out here into the woods unprepared, because that is something you shouldn't do. All right, guys, God bless all of you. Until next time, don't forget to do it yourself.